Welcome back to Cantina Customs. As teased and promised in the last episode, this episode focuses on my custom Patrol Dewback. So grab your sand trooper gear, your prod and lance, and saddle up, partner, because this ain't your grandma's lizard. Yeehaw! Before we look at my custom Dewback, I want to show you the three different iterations of the Dewback from the movies and the TV series and their corresponding toys. The first is the original Dewback prop animatronic from the 1977 film. The animatronics didn't really work, so it ended up just being a big prop that a sand trooper sat on in the background of the desert scene or a prop that just sat outside of the cantina. This beast did give us the Kenner Patrol Dewback with the spring-loaded saddle hatch and that cool feature where the head moved from side to side when you move the tail. Next is the 1997 Special Edition CGI Dewback that was a bit more muscular and scaly. Hasbro also released this beast in the Power of the Force 2 line with a feature where that when you move the tail, the Dewback's head lifted up and then the mouth open. And this beast also came with a special, unique Sand Trooper rider. Then in 1999, with Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, we saw another version of the Dewback in the Pod Racer opening scenes. This Dewback appears even larger than the first two depictions and is considerably different with a smaller lizard-like head. This was the version that was released in the Legacy Collection in 2009 with that pristine white armored sand trooper, very, very clean, didn't look like he'd ever been out in the desert, and he had the white shoulder pauldron. And this kind of disappointed a lot of fans because you had a prequel style Dewback that was meant for an original trilogy scene and an original trilogy sand trooper. The original 1977 version Dewback also appears in The Mandalorian Season 2 as a CGI type version of the original prop. To date, there has not been a release of this version of the Dewback, or we might say a true update to the Kenner version. Now, I know fans have tried to explain the differences and how each of these Dewbacks looks as different kinds of, different breeds of Dewbacks, kind of like you've got different breeds of dogs, like a German Shepherd looks different than a Beagle, but I'm focusing more on the original 1977 Dewback prop. Each of the 4-inch scale toys that have been released contain certain redeeming qualities to them. Hasbro even produced a 6-inch Black Series Dewback around 2018. And again, each of these Dewbacks has its hits and its misses when compared to the 1977 Dewback prop animatronic. Both the Kenner and the Black Series Dewback have the correct saddle. The Kenner, Power of the Force 2, and the Black Series Dewbacks have very similar looking head sculpts to the 1977 prop. And the Legacy Collection Dewback's body looks the most like the 1977 prop in height and in length. Now, whereas the Power of the Force Dewback is too scaly and muscular, like the Special Edition CGI model. And then the Legacy Collection Dewback, its head is too small compared to the 1977 prop. And then while the 6-inch Black Series Dewback has really great features, a really great sculpt, the body is just too compact. The main body between the front and back legs needs to be longer. So if and when Hasbro ever updates the Kenner Patrol Dewback, it would be great if they use the Black Series creature as a basis, just make the body longer. But in the meantime, here is my custom Dewback. I don't have any work in progress photos of the actual Dewback, but what I did was I removed the head from the Power of the Force Dewback using my Ryobi multi-tool. That's the saw where the blade shakes back and forth. Some people call it a jam saw. It's for trimming door jams when laying down flooring. I removed the head from the Power of the Force Dewback, and then I super glued it in place on the Legacy Dewback body. Now the little lizard head, it pops right off, and then I did have to use a Dremel and do a little Dremel work on the body to get the head to fit where I wanted it. For the mouth, I just super glued it in place, left it open, and then I blended the Power of the Force 2 head onto the Legacy body by creating a mane of hair from vinyl floor putty that I had left over from laying new flooring in my house a few years ago. The original Dewback prop in 1977 also used a mane and some hair at the tail to hide the body seams. The only real work in progress photos I took were of the saddle. I wanted to mimic that front pommel of the Bedouin style camel saddle used in 1977. So I glued some foam board for over the horn pommel and then added some vinyl floor putty to give it that kind of furry, fuzzy look. Here are some more pictures of where I blended the Power of the Force 2 head onto the Legacy body with that vinyl flooring putty to look like a mane of hair. And as mentioned, I added a bit to the tail like the 1977 Dewback. Now, I didn't add as much as what the 1977 Dewback has. I think on the Dewback prop, it actually has hair that goes down around the hindquarters as well to really hide the seam where the tail connects to the body. I also glued the front legs in a particular pose to give the Dewback a wider stance and to make sure that its mouth was off the ground even though it's been glued in place. I also did a little painting and dry brushing, and then I gave the whole creature a wash to try to blend the different colors of greens together. Here are a couple of pictures of my custom sand trooper riding the Dewback. As you can see, because of the way the saddle is sculpted with those 3 saddlebags on each side, you just about have to put the sand trooper in a seated position rather than a straddle position to sit on the Dewback. If and when Hasbro decides to update the Dewback, I hope that they sculpt the saddle more like the Kenner Patrol Dewback and the actual movie prop with the space between the saddlebags for the figure's legs. For my custom, in hindsight, I wish I would have made that furry pommel in the front just a little bit taller to look more like the actual movie prop. I used the harnesses and reins from the Legacy Collection Dewback to cover up the sculpted reins on the Power of the Force 2 head. Now, the sculpted reins, all of the Dewbacks that have been produced so far have made that neck brace a little too far back. On the actual prop, it's right behind the jaw, but I covered up the sculpted one on the Power of the Force 2 Dewback. And so what I did is I just took the reins and harness from the Legacy Collection Dewback, had to cut and splice them to get them to fit around the Power of the Force 2 Dewback neck. And then as far as the reins that go up to the Sand Trooper, I just glued them in place behind the pommel. Here's some more pictures of the custom Dewback. I was trying to capture the same angle as that photo that appears in the Star Wars novel, which is what I think the image at the top in the middle from The Mandalorian is also trying to replicate. The other pictures that I have are of the grungy Hasbro Sand Troopers with the black pauldron. Now, I did make one final custom to the Dewback. There was just something that didn't seem right. And then looking at images of the 1977 prop and the vintage Kenner toy, it hit me. It's the eyes. Like James Hong said in Blade Runner, I just do the eyes. So I painted the Power of the Force 2 Dewback eyes yellow and then added the pupils. And now it looks more natural to me. The Power of the Force 2 Dewback has like red orange eyes with no pupils, and it just kind of looked a little off. That's it for this episode of Cantina Customs. The Dewback is one of those Star Wars creatures that I think is just a classic. It's always going to be a hit. I think the Patrol Dewback, a 1977 version, or even a Mandalorian-ish style version of the Dewback, is something that Hasbro definitely needs to look into. We need a better looking, movie accurate Dewback to go with our updated Sand Troopers. So if that's something you agree with, what are some things that you would like to see in an updated version of the Dewback? Drop a comment and let us know your thoughts on what you think an updated Dewback should look like. As always, hit those likes and subscribe buttons, and thank you for watching.